Southwest Governor Bernard Okalia Belai installs new FACO Senior Divisional Officer Vyang Mekala, calling on him to be mindful in the execution of his functions. Plus, the French Football Federation fails to release coach Hervé Renard after the Ivorian national team wishes him to be their new coach after the coach of Ivory Coast was sacked by the said Federation of the West African nation of Cote d'Ivoire. Those were our headlines. Good evening to you all. You are welcome to High Prime of Friday, the 26th of January 2024. For presentation, I am attending Larry Kevin Tabot. We start with one of the latest stories. Southwest Governor Bernard Okalia Belai has commissioned the new Senior Divisional Officer for FACO Division, Vyang Mekala, into office. The commissioning ceremony that took place yesterday at the Limbe Manga Williams Square, where local authorities came on board to witness this solemn ceremony. During the event, the incoming Senior Divisional Officer for FACO, Vyang Mekala, was exhorted to step up the fight against Ghost Town, something his predecessor Shuaibu fought hard against. Let's now take a listen to the interview by the governor of the Southwest region.
Chieftaincy disputes and the sale of land with the complicity of some traditional rulers and head of community to the detriment of members of the native communities. This is a summary of your division, FACO, where on a permanent basis, complaints concerning land and chieftaincy dispute continue to flood the administration and independent courts, divide families, put brothers against each other, and lead to near confrontations amongst the population. In this regard, it shall be incumbent on you, Mr. Senior Divisional Officer, to cause the traditional rulers of the villages of your division to understand that the collective landed property or real estate of their villages is not their personal property. Consequently, traditional rulers of FACO division have to make an effort in this domain to ensure equity and social justice. Ladies and gentlemen, upon commissioner into office the SDO Vyang Mekala this day, I strongly wish that you make very good use of him so that he becomes for you an instrument of development and not an instrument in your fight for political leadership and the settlement of scores. In his administrative unit, the Senior Divisional Officer is expected to be a neutral referee, the guarantor of law and order and public decency as well as of social justice, and not an accomplice in your internal squabbles. Consequently, I request you to completely leave him out of your political quarrels so that he should have one and only one war to fight, that of development of FACO division.
That was Southwest Governor Bernard Okalia Belai speaking during the commissioning ceremony of the new Senior Divisional Officer for FACO Division, Vyang Mekala. In that satellite, the new administration of Vyang Mekala says they will work hand in glove with the local population in order to fast-track peace and development in the FACO Division. Let's take a listen to the new Senior Divisional Officer for FACO Division, Vyang Mekala.
First of all, to express my profound gratitude to the head of state, His Excellency for my appointment as the Senior Divisional Officer of FACO Division. I'm very conscious of the level of responsibility and challenges that are waiting me at the helms of this important division. A very important division and very particular one, especially in the domain of the maintaining and preservation of peace. also in the domain of security. I want to acknowledge the work well done by my predecessors to maintain this division calm. So, as you know, administration is continuing. I would like to continue where they stop. Also, I've listened keenly the speech, the insurrection speech of the Excellency of the Governor of the Southwest Region, and he has insisted on the necessity for me to follow up the implementation on and the execution of projects that are ongoing. So I will make.
Welcome to FACO Division, Mr. Senior Divisional Officer. We now take you to news from the Northwest region. Ewi village have been besieged and looted and burned by Anglophone separatist fighters in the Northwest region. The village that is located in Batibo subdivision of the Northwest region saw separatists who stormed the village as they looted and burned the rear palace of Ewi Fondom, accusing the villagers of collaborating with the forces of law and order. Let's watch this upcoming reports done for us from the Northwest region.
Separatist fighters in the Northwest region wage havoc in AY village of Batibo subdivision in Momo division as the separatist fighters loot and burn the royal palace and other structures in the village.
Yes, it started on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, breaking Sunday. So some armed men entered the village and burned down the palace because it started that the general of Ambazonia called Efa, alias Big Number. So he was captured by the military and some of his men was killed, and the group turned out to accuse the villagers, the village of EY in Batibo subdivision. They accused the villager that their complicity with the military, of which most of the villagers know nothing about it.
The oppressor who has imposed a shutdown in the said village, as one of the survivors recounts on witnessing food shortages and shortage of basic commodities as people can no longer go in or come out of the said village.
They kidnapped 23 members of the Elik family or the EY family and carried them to the bush. So with cry, they released them and asked them not to go out from the village. So they surrounded all the village. And later on, they are threatening to kill all the quarterheads there. So now, those people, they cannot go out, they cannot go in, and there's an acute shortage of food, drinking water. So the situation is very terrible there in EY village in Batibo subdivision.
The day's havoc in the village comes after a local separatist leader in the said area known as EFA was captured by the Cameroonian Defense Forces, and the said separatists are accusing the villagers of AY of being in collusion with the security forces of Cameroon.
EY village to try to protect them and let the international community see what is happening there in EY village. It's a gross human rights violation. All the palace have been burned down, and the palace is the symbol of unity of EY people. So I want to use this opportunity that the EY people, they are not part of what is going on in the Northwest and Southwest. They just want to live their life quietly, but some people have hijacked them and forced them to enter into a conflict which they did not want. So we are appealing to the international community to take a particular note and assist those people for this terrible situation that is going on.
The said separatist leader who was captured by the defense elements after several atrocities that he caused in the village was taken to a disclosed environment from his hospital bed receiving treatment in Bamenda. The poor villagers who are caught in between the devil and the deep blue sea are calling on the defense and security forces to come to their rescue.
That's a sad face of the separatist fighters who caused havoc in Ewi village in Baribo subdivision of the Northwest region. We now move over to something else. Some distinguished police officers in the Southwest region have received epaulets from the hierarchy of the police force in the nation. The epaulette ceremony that took place at Bongo Square this afternoon was presided over by Southwest Governor Bernard Okalia Belai as the different newly promoted policemen and women expressed joy and satisfaction in this new chapter of their lives. The police hierarchy charges them not to relent effort and energy in making sure the sovereignty of Cameroon stays intact. Now let's take a listen to two police officers who were promoted recently in this ceremony as they were interviewed by Cynthia Latu.
For my new grades, I thank all my family, I thank my chief there. I say because it's wonderful. After 20 years, I'm today Ipepe. Plenty of my friends, some die, some they sick. I thank God because I still there. So I thank God.
This 26 January, I like today because I don't wear major for police. All my family impliqué dans le camp for the Merci.
You are watching High Prime and we are coming to you live from our main studio here in High Television. We now take you to Talk Health. The 154th edition of the Executive Member Council of the World Health Organization has just wrapped up in its headquarters in Geneva, Switzerland. The ceremony that was presided over by the Director General of the World Health Organization, our Ethiopian-born Dr. Gabriel Ghebreyesus, who exhorted all member states to contribute enormously in making sure that there is zero poverty and quality health care services to the various member countries that made up the World Health Organization. Cameroon was being represented over there by its Minister of Public Health, Dr. Manaona Malachi. In greater perspective, the upcoming report explains for us.
The 154th session of the World Health Organization Executive Board meeting is happening at its headquarters in Geneva, Switzerland, with all member countries present. With the raging conflicts and wars around the world that has made health emergency, the WHO is looking at this as focus.
Of a new year gives us the opportunity to look forward with hope and to look back on the year that has been. And as I look back on 2023, it's with mixed emotions. It was a year to celebrate as we marked our 75th anniversary and reflected on the many improvements in human health that we have been part of.
With 2023 that the organization celebrated her 75th anniversary, as she is now looking at GBW14, an agenda that stands to make sure member countries implement universal health coverage for all, thereby promoting good health, except the same person. The different EB members present some major worries that health workers across the globe face. The Director General of the WHO, on his part, congratulated a sharp decline in the usage of tobacco among 155 member countries.
As I do every year, I would like to take a few moments to give you a snapshot of some of the last year's key achievements based on the framework of the 5 Ps. First, promoting health. This includes our shared work to address the root cause of disease in our changing climate, the conditions in which people live and work, and in the products they consume. Tobacco use is declining in 150 countries, and there are now 19 million fewer smokers globally than there were 2 years ago. On trans fats, Bans or limits were based in 6 countries last year and became effective in a further 7. And every year, we support more and more countries to address child wasting and obesity, to encourage breastfeeding, to increase taxes on alcohol, tobacco, or sugary drinks, to regulate marketing of unhealthy products to children, including e-cigarettes, to promote physical activity, and to make our roads safer.
With 2.5 billion people in the world facing financial difficulty, the WHO says it is time for them to make a remarkable improvement, thereby touching all lives.
The 3 core priorities of GPW13, healthier populations, universal health coverage, and emergency preparedness and response are reflected in the first 3 of the 5 Ps, which form the overarching goal of GPW14, to promote, to provide, and protect health and well-being for all people everywhere.
With Cameroon's Minister of Public Health, Madonna Malachi, present at the Executive Board meeting in Switzerland, it is therefore expected that the Health Ministry will be coming back powerfully to implement all of these policies taken. From health, we talk gender issue. Cameroon has proven herself to be one of the few African countries on the continent to bridge the gap when it comes to gender inequality. According to statistics from the National Statistics Center with headquarters in Yaoundé, that reveals that more Cameroonian women are being appointed to top position in government, while women and girls are highly elevated to other functions, as the legislature for both the lower and upper houses have had an increase when it comes to the representation of women in both the lower and upper houses of parliament. Alice Lekeliengo picks interest in this story and now tells us more.
Globally, some progress on women's rights has been achieved in Cameroon. As of 2021, 33.89% of seats in parliament were held by women. Over 9 women are ministers in Cameroon and some as senators. Still in Cameroon, most government schools are headed by women. Cameroon has made key strides towards gender equality and women's empowerment through major international commitments, including the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. Women should be given the chance to lead and govern at all levels of society, including on a global scale. Diversity in leadership leads to a broader range of perspectives and ideas which can automatically benefit everyone. In Cameroon, especially in governments, individuals are judged on their capabilities and not on their gender. Nevertheless, it has been noticed that more attention nowadays is being given to girls than boys. It is important to try as much as possible to strike a balance.
We talk sports football on this newscast in the ongoing 34th edition of the African Cup of Nations in Ivory Coast, where the Ivorian Federation has failed to secure the release of French man Hervé Renard to be their coach for the next knockout stage that will be taking place tomorrow in Côte d'Ivoire. According to official reports, the French Federation say they won't allow the French coach Hervé Renard to coach the Elephants of Côte d'Ivoire. In order to understand more, Cynthia Lato tells us more.
After AFCON 2023 host Ivory Coast humiliating defeat 4-0 against Equatorial Guinea, the Elephant coach Jean-Louis Gazet has been sacked. Talks between the Ivorian Football Federation and their French counterpart in an attempt to bring in French women's team coach Hervé Renard midway through the competition have failed. The French coach expressed readiness to succor the Ivorian team, but regretted destiny decided otherwise. He is under contract as coach of the French women's team through to the end of this year's Paris Olympics, and the Bleus also have a UEFA Nations League semi-finals to play against Germany in Lyon on February 23. Renard enjoys great popularity in Ivory Coast. He led the nations to the African Nations title in 2015, and the country's football federation was keen to bring him back for another attempt. In the ongoing African Cup of Nations, host Ivory Coast finished the pool stage on 3 points in Group A, having lost 1-0 to Nigeria following a 2-0 win against Guinea-Bissau in their opening match. Despite slim hopes of progressing to round 16, the Elephants have booked their tickets for this stage after Gazette's dismissal and thanks to Morocco's victory over Zambia. They will face champion Senegal, who have won every game in the knockout stages. Ivory Coast will be led by Imes Faye, one of Gazette's coaches, on an interim basis. They are the first AFCON host to lose 2 group games since they did so in 1984. Former Bordeaux coach Gazette was appointed by the Federation in May 2022, replacing his compatriot Patrice Baumel. Baumel's contract was not renewed after the Elephants missed out on 2022 World Cup qualification and exited the last Nations Cup in Cameroon.
With that football story from sportswoman Cynthia Latte, viewers of High Television, this is where we conclude tonight's newscast of High Prime of Friday the 26th of January 2024. Thanks for watching and good night from our studios, and good luck to the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon, who will be playing with the Super Eagles of Nigeria tomorrow 9 a.m. Cameroon time, and High TV will broadcast that live from Abidjan. Good night.